everyone, welcome back to 5DT with me. This week I wanted to acknowledge that it's Memorial Day weekend so that we remember and honor those that have served and those that are important to us, either in past service or current service, or even folks that we've lost because of their service. So it's very, very important. I personally was having a hard time starting 5DT with me because this weekend signifies a loss for me. My father did not serve, but I lost my father 22 years ago. And it's always a unique time every single year. You never know, even with the amount of time that has passed, you just never know how it's going to feel year to year to year. Sometimes in certain years I've been really, really angry. In other years I've been able to fully celebrate his life. In other years I've just been super sad, and I'm just letting it unfold right now. But it all leads up to what I want to talk about, which is a theme that has been coming in strong, coming in hard for me personally, but I believe for others as well, for the last 2-3 weeks, and that's acceptance and surrender. And I initially wanted to teach a meditation on surrender, but was having a hard time writing it, and realizing I was having a hard time writing it because I have a hard time doing it. And I was talking with a friend, and I may have mentioned this before, but she had very eloquently said, sometimes when surrender doesn't come naturally to us, or it's not accessible to us, the best thing to think about is acceptance, right? And so I started to think about it in stages. And I think too, for folks who have had a lot of trauma in their life, whether it's childhood trauma, adult trauma, maybe it's both, we find that surrender is particularly difficult to do, or to even know how to do, because we've been sitting in a place of protection for so long. And so acceptance was a really tangible way for me to start thinking about it. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, that leads me to the word trust, right? So in order for me to accept something, I have to not just trust myself, I have to trust the process. I have to trust that this process is leading me to some kind of a lesson about this person, this place, this thing, or whatever has happened along the way. And trusting the universe that everything is going to sort itself out. Everything is going to happen in its own divine timing. That maybe the things that I'm asking for right now aren't part of my destiny yet, but they will be at some point. And if they're not, then figuring out what that means and how I need to make adjustments in order to align with my destiny, my calling, my purpose. And so I wrote a meditation on acceptance and surrender. It's a really beautiful meditation, and I've had the liberty and the privilege of teaching it a couple of times. It's funny how the universe does that. When they meaning spirit guides, team, or source creator, or all of the above, whatever you believe in, step in and they really want you to dig in on something and to find space and time and energy to devote to something, things open up in very unique ways. And so the flow that I've been experiencing around acceptance and surrender has been really beautiful, and I've been able to teach this just lovely meditation a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, and I may have an opportunity to teach it again to a whole new course next week. our whole new class next week. But what was also interesting is coming out of that class that I last taught on acceptance and surrender, one of my students came up to me after class and she was saying, you know, I really think that you should get involved with this organization that's putting on an event next week. Here's the information, read up on it, see if you're interested. And it's called Creative Mornings, by the way. So they have chapters all over the world. And if you are a creative person, artist, writer, anything having to do with the creative space, maybe you're a graphic designer or, you know, something more on the digital side, whatever it is, these chapters are free for you to join. And it's this really incredible group of people, like-minded people who want to come together and celebrate everybody's creativity and the exciting things that they're doing in the community. And so there's a theme every month. And what I didn't initially get from originally signing up for this particular, I guess we'll call it a workshop, was that it was around acceptance. And then when I received the information leading up to the event, it clicked in my mind, oh, this is about acceptance. Okay, so here it is again, right? But everyone's definition of that is different. So what is this speaker's definition of acceptance, and how is their perspective on this going to add to what's already sitting and simmering in my world? And so I had the lovely opportunity to go to that workshop Friday morning, and it just kind of, stuff just kind of started going off in my brain about all of these other ways and avenues that we can explore acceptance and surrender through meditation. And it was a really lovely talk. If you are, well, the theme would have been throughout the globe. So if you are a member or you sign up to be a member, I know that they actually put the videos online, so you can go on and see what the speaker was in your area that was talking about acceptance and what their perspective was on it. But if you're in the Denver area, you'll see the one that I went to, and it just was a very full circle moment around all of this theme, if you will. And I think with it coinciding with the weekend of the anniversary of my father's passing, it's really allowed me the beauty and the grace of sitting in acceptance and surrender around that loss. And around a lot of other things too that are happening behind the scenes in my personal life. But, you know, that's forefront right now. And, you know, it's been 22 years, so I've accepted at this point that he's not coming back, but that his memory certainly lives on. His spirit definitely lives on, which is like a whole other video that we can get into. But really, I think surrendering to what that fully meant for me when I was in my mid-20s and it happened, and what it means for me now, I don't know that I really fully submitted to all of that. I definitely grieved, and I definitely continue to grieve on various levels. But I think surrendering to what his passing meant for me at that time in my life, gosh, I hadn't gotten married yet. I wasn't even engaged to my now ex-husband. That actually happened quickly after that. But, you know, it changes you as a person. And I was at a pretty still young, formative time, even though I was in my mid-20s, to lose someone who was so close to me. My dad and I were two peas in a pod. He was my best friend. I'm sure on a lot of levels, no man will ever measure up to the man that my father was in my eyes. But really, my walls went up. My walls went up after that, and I wasn't able to be vulnerable about how I was feeling about it, because as a result of my father's passing, a lot of things around me and my family started to unravel. And it was a very, very, very difficult time for obvious reasons, but above and beyond that. And I don't want to say I swept that under the rug, but I had to take a stance for myself at that age of 26 in saying, I am not willing to allow this into my life anymore. I'm only allowing this in my life, and this being, you know, the supportive network, the love and loyalty and all of that that comes with that comes on the journey of life, but really comes to the forefront when people who are close to us pass. It's a very strange time, and people don't know how to deal with death, especially people who have never dealt with death before. And so the response from my network of friends, acquaintances, family, it was all very odd and a little bit jarring, to be honest with you. So maneuvering that at that age was really interesting time in my maturity. And certainly there are people where it happens and they're much younger, and I you know, in a lot of ways can't even imagine. But I think that it kind of set me up, yes, to mature and become stronger in a lot of ways, but because of the childhood trauma that I had experienced and already had walls up. I mean, my nickname was Fort Knox. Not even lying. That's what a boyfriend used to call me back in college. And so Fort Knox just kind of became, you know, just the walls of Fort Knox got higher and the walls of Fort Knox got thicker. And for me, you know, I was already in a relationship at that time, so I think the good thing is that person already knew me and had seen me grow up over many years. We were together for 13 years. And I think that's the only reason why I was able to maintain a relationship during that time. On top of the fact that, you know, this lovely person was just very supportive to me during this loss. Which was a blessing for sure, because a lot of people don't experience that, and I'm so sorry if that has happened to you. But it did allow the walls to go up. It did allow for me to disregard some things that I didn't know. It wasn't a conscious decision, but it was a subconscious decision that I'm now lovingly accepting and receiving as an offering from the universe to me to continue to work through. And, you know, no one ever said that personal transformation journeys were short or easy. They're long and they can be quite difficult. But I assure you, both in the short term and as far as the long game goes, that it is worth it. The leaps and bounds that I've been able to make over the last, decade has catapulted my perspective of myself and of the world in ways that I don't even know that I can begin to understand, even to articulate, since I was young. I mean, people who meet me now who haven't seen me in years or haven't talked to me in years are just kind of like, oh, okay, you know, there's a lot of change that has happened for me personally, and in my personal growth and evolution, and I'm proud of that. I mean, I've worked hard, and I think that that's probably the first time I've ever said that too. So to surrender enough to say that is progress. You know, surrender is baby steps for a lot of us. And I think if we just keep chipping away at it and looking at things that we need to accept in our life, maybe we're accepting a person, maybe we're accepting a circumstance, maybe we're accepting things from the past, that edges us and nudges us further and further and further toward what ultimately is surrender. And once you're able to feel that, it's life-changing. And I can say that because I was raised in an Italian, German, English, and Scottish household, and forgiveness was not part of the repertoire. And I came to forgiveness on my own. It was a life event for me in my mid-30s, of all things. And I remember it profoundly. I mean, like it was yesterday, discovering this new feeling. And so when you get to that place of surrender, I am assuming it will feel that same way for a lot of you that struggle with the term surrender. So trust is a big part of that as well. Again, just going back to self-trust, and trusting the leap that it takes to get to that next level of acceptance and then to ultimate surrender. That's my prayer and my wish for everyone this month, this year, is acceptance and surrender. And if you're interested in joining in on a meditation around acceptance and surrender, I'm probably going to write at least one other one based off of this workshop, and maybe even do a workshop of my own around it, because I'm feeling very, very inspired. So if you're interested, you can email me through the5dcollective.com, and I can put together a class on it. Or like I said, I might be posting to the workshop page soon. So with all of that being said, lots of new things happening on the website over the last several weeks. So I just want to put out the reminder that we now have a shop, an online store open, and all of our hand-selected, curated, and I use most, if not all, of the products on that page for mindfulness, for meditation, for breath work, for home decor, whatever it is, they are in the shop now for you all to enjoy. So please feel free to go peruse and let us know if you want to see anything else. We will be adding more and more content as we go along to the store. And then we have started our blog. So I'll be posting content every, let's say, week to 2 weeks on different things around mindfulness, meditation, breathwork techniques, but also just what's going on in the universe, right? Some of the things that resonate with me, even though I'm not a professional astrologer, are things going on in astrology and astronomy. So I like to talk about those things, and I'm continuing to do the workshops, the new moon workshops as well. And then I have some things brewing on the back burner around a 2024 retreat. So the venue is chosen. The information is coming soon. solidifying some dates. But I'm super pumped about it. And if you want to join us for a week of yoga, meditation, breath work, we'll be doing a workshop during this as well, and some fun activities in Mexico. I'm not going to tell you where yet, but it is in Mexico. I encourage you to sign up for the newsletter and to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because that is generally the first place where we're going to make all of those announcements. So stay tuned, and I promise more information is coming soon. But thanks for listening to my thoughts ramble on about acceptance and surrender and where I'm sitting this weekend. And I hope that you all have a safe and lovely holiday weekend. Enjoy spending it with the ones that you love. Keep them close, hold them close, keep them safe as well during the holiday. And I will see you guys at the next 5D Tea with me. Bye.